Hi there, happy 2021 from a snowy New Brunswick. As you can see, I no longer live in the UK, and that means my collection has changed a bit. So I got rid of all the ball pythons and the green tree python, and I only have African house snakes left. I have them in two of the IKEA racks. This one uses IKEA tubs, and this one uses Rubbermaid tubs. In this rack I have the three adult brown house snakes, the albinos, and then in this one I have some of the males and some other different things. I'll be pulling them out and showing you the tubs individually, but I thought it'd be worth showing the setup. Down here I have 5 tubs of mealworms and bran for my son's leopard gecko, and then I also have some yearlings that were left over from last year, and then I have a few of the baby tubs that are still available for sale this year. I'll show more details of that in another video. This is one of my females. I've named her Doris because she's fairly docile. She's quite nice. She has the big blotches in her pattern. She's given me some babies this year. She's really cool. I like her. Next up is Savage. Thus named because every single time I pick her up, she bites me. So she's similar patterns to Doris. I think they're sisters originally. Her dots are a little bit smaller. And you'll notice they have the black eye. That's something that's typical of the T positive albinos. They have the blackest and slightly different patterning to the T negative ones. So she's a T positive. And then one of the ones that the one that I did a live stream on a few years ago that I got from a pet shop that was closing down, she's done really well. She's almost as big as the other ones, and she kept a lot of her more caramel color and a little bit of red around her face. She's usually pretty chilled. She's always hungry, but once she realizes that there's no food, then she calms down. So she has been named Ruby because of her red tint. I forgot to mention, don't stress out that there's no water bowl for the snakes. I'm just in the middle of cleaning them all out and giving them more water, so their cage is in a bit of a crazy state. Once I get them all back and finish the video, I'll put all the water bowls back. So these 2 males are the original ones that I had from the UK. It was these 2, and then the 3 females are the ones that I brought over from the UK. The rest of the snakes I had to sell because we came over to Canada with a few suitcases and backpacks, and that's about it, and we sent these guys over via ham. So this is one of the males. His name is Bob. He's got a lot of that speckling that I really like in them. And then this is the other. I think these might be brothers as well, I'm not 100% sure. I got these guys from Nicky Chin. Well, yeah, here's the same thing, and this guy's name's Larry. Bob and Larry from VeggieTales. I think maybe I'll let the kids name these ones, I'm not sure. But yeah, he also has the same patterning. These guys are cool. We found out this year that they are both het for T plus albino because we bred these with the 2 other females, Doris and Savage, and they both had some albinos in the clutch. So that means these guys must be het. I bred them last year as well, and they didn't have any, but it might have just been luck of the draw. Yeah, so these guys are still doing well, and they're from my collection back in the day. These were the next snakes that I added via ham. So at the same time that I sent my snakes over to ham, I got one of the South African breeders to meet up with the guy who was importing them to Canada for me, and he got me these 2. So these are Zambian green house snakes. I know they look very dark, they don't look very green, but as they get older they will get more green. And so this guy's more of an olivey color depending on the light. Sometimes the light makes him look very green. Right now he looks a bit brown, and then she looks very dark, but after a shed her green comes out as sort of a green iridescence. The important thing about these ones is if you want to make the butter house snake, that particular mutation or color combination, you get these guys, the greens, and you cross them with an albino. So I have one of those. I've managed to breed this guy with Ruby, the big red one, and I got some out of her, and those have slightly more green in them than these parents. So this is the baby from Spinach, that male who's green, and Ruby, the very red albino female. So she's what's known as an Illumo. The guy who first made this pairing called them that. So she's het for albino, and she also has half of the green gene in her. So if I had to breed her with one with the same genetics, then I would get the butters out of her. And the butters look like a slightly more cleaned, brighter version of the albinos. So the year after we moved to Canada, I decided to try and get some more snakes from that same breeder in South Africa. His name's Rolf Dennison. His company is Ultimate Exotics. So I ended up getting these two Tminus albinos. This one is obviously a bit feisty. I haven't held her much, and she's still quite young. They usually chill out as they get older, with the exception of Savage, because she's crazy. But they have very nice patterning, and if the light was a bit lower, you'd be able to see her pupil, and be able to see that she has a red pupil. Let's see if you can share it. Ow! She bit me. Ow! She's biting me again. Yeah, you can see that her pupil is red, whereas the other ones had a black pupil. And then this is the male. He has insane coloring. I really like the high contrast of his coloring. He had a very big meal, so I'm not going to mess with him much. He's just chilling there. Ignore the poop in the corner. As I said, I'm in the middle of cleaning, but I don't want to mess around with him too much because he's otherwise going to vomit up that food. Yeah, he's my favorite so far in terms of patterning. He's got the big house snake patterning that I love, as well as very high contrast. He has a lot of white in his patterning as well. So these are both, as mentioned, the T negative albino. So in the albino pathway, or in the melanin pathway to create the brown pigment, it can break in different places, and somewhere along the way you have a gene or a protein called tyrosinase. These guys don't have that protein, so their melanin pathway gets broken earlier, and then the other ones do have tyrosinase, and they get a little bit more, so that's why they get the black eyes. I think that's the case. If anyone knows otherwise, has more details, let me know, but I think it's something to do with that. And the two forms of albino are not compatible. So I remember Eric Patterson would breed the one type to the other type, and they would get normal looking babies, whereas if they're compatible, they should get an albino, maybe of a combination or something like that. Anyway, these guys are really cool. I'm really interested to see what they're like when they get older, if he keeps his high contrast or not. These guys are something quite different. At the same time I got those T- albinos, I got Rolf to give me a pair of Aurora house snakes. These are a completely different species. Well, these days the house snakes that all look the same, what we used to call brown house snakes as kids, they're split up into different species anyway. But these guys were always a different species. They look completely different. They have a different head shape and everything. They typically have an olive green base color and an orange or yellowy stripe down their back. I had some of these in South Africa, but I haven't had these for a long time, so I was very happy to get them. While I was a kid looking for snakes in South Africa, I used to always look for these but never able to find them, so they're quite rare in the wild, and it's really nice to be able to have one of these. I also have a male, but he loves to burrow, so I'll see if I can find him. There he is. He has much brighter colouring and is quite a bit smaller than the female. He has very olivey colours. This lighting's not very good. If it wasn't snowing outside, hopefully I'd be able to get some more sunlight, but I have to make do. Yeah, these guys are awesome. They're pretty different to the brown house snakes. As you can see, they burrow a lot more than the other house snakes. They usually are found in anthills and things like that when looking for them in the wild, or in rotten logs. I think other people find them in rotten logs as well. But as far as care, most of the time I just keep them the same as the normal brown house snakes, and they end up doing pretty well. So that's all the snakes that I've bought so far, the ones that I brought with from the UK and the ones that I have bought since I got here to Canada. So I wanted to finish off this video with showing you the 2 holdbacks that I have from this year. These are this year, or last year's snakes, I suppose, 2020. Doris crossed with Bob, and then this is number 6. We had 12 out of this clutch. This one is a female, and I'm keeping her back because she, unlike all of her siblings, has just a very, very light coloration. The rest of them seem to be more of the caramelly type, which is usually something that I prefer in house snakes. I really like that reddy caramelly color, but she is just something different, and I thought it would be nice to keep it back and see what it does. So I don't think there's necessarily hypo or anything in her. House snakes are quite variable, just as they come. Like in the wild, you would be able to find one that's very brown and very red and very dark, like all in the same location. So I don't get too hung up on the localities and things like that. But she has a very light coloration, and I just thought she'd be cool to keep back. I'll just put the lid on so she doesn't escape. Okay, and this one is a male. I don't have any albino males. Well, T plus albino males. I have that other one that I showed, the Tminus one. So where is he? There he is. So he is similar looking to most of the other ones I have, but again he has that patterning which I love, as well as his fairly high contrast. So I have a few more albinos that look similar to him, but he's the best looking male that I have. I think I only have 2 albino males this year. It might be difficult to see, but you should be able to see that he has black pupils instead of the red ones like the other ones. So anyway, that's the collection that I have. I got rid of everything that's not from Southern Africa because when I was keeping all of them, I realized that I love the colors of the ball pythons, but I really don't like how they don't eat very well. And the green tree pythons, I really like them as well. I ended up getting a second one, and it died, and it kind of just ruined me for them. So when we left, I sold that huge enclosure to someone in the UK, and I just came over with the 5 house snakes and decided to start again. Things that I might look at in the future, maybe I'll get some Angolan pythons. Those are also the other python species that we had access to in Southern Africa. So I might get those, and yeah, just have a bit of a different collection, just the things that I really like. I'll breed some if people want to buy them, great. If they don't, then I'll just stop breeding them. But I love these snakes. I looked up to them when I was a boy. When I found out that you could have albinos of them, I was so excited. And yeah, there's just something about them. They're nostalgia for me, so I'm going to just focus on these guys. As I mentioned, I do have some babies available. If you want to get in contact, I'll have links to my Instagram and my Facebook page that I made for them. So if you're around Atlantic Canada, let me know and we can get in contact. Cheers.